Got a question here on LockerGnome.net asked by Nasmus, and they're wondering, when will 4 gigabytes of RAM just not be enough anymore? Or why won't it be enough? You know, I remember my first computer had, I think, I know, less than 1 megabyte of RAM. Then my second computer had 8 megabytes, but then I upgraded to 16 megabytes, and that cost me about $300. That was back in 1995, I think it was. It was, you know, right when Windows 95 had just come out, and I was playing with the beta in an unofficial capacity. Sorry about that, Microsoft. We hopefully can make amends. I mean, I did, become a big supporter for Windows, and still am, all the way through to Windows 7. Vista, Millennium Edition, Bob, we've had our differences. But 7's strong. In fact, it's strong enough that 4 gigabytes of RAM is enough. So, how long is it going to take before it's not enough? Well, what we really need to see are applications that can better take advantage of more memory. So, like video processing, as that becomes more prevalent, well, then again, I can do video processing on my iPhone right now. That's how I'm recording this video, by the way, and there's not 4 gigabytes of RAM in that. I don't know if I've got an answer to the question. I'd say 10 years from now, I would say that 4 gigabytes of RAM, I would hope, would not be enough, because if it was still enough, that would mean that we're not creating enough software to take advantage of more memory. I mean, we're going to likely see more photorealistic games. Games always, when it comes to RAM, every single game I've seen out there has always said, the more RAM you have, we'll take it. Well, I'll eat it, I'll crunch the textures and do all these things, and yeah, I got the GPU, but give me more RAM. I need the RAM. That's what the game is essentially saying. So games are going to look better, sound better, play better. You're going to find a much more immersive experience, at least in terms of technology. We are, of course, going to become more frugal. I mean, just because you have 4 gigabytes of RAM doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to take advantage of those 4 gigabytes. Now, I'm going to take a slight leap sideways here and suggest that I think the way we think about a computer these days is changing slowly. At least it's been changed in a lot of server environments. You have things called virtual machines. Of course, Parallels, VMware, these are desktop applications, at least the way that most of you have known about them. By the way, don't buy either Parallels or VMware in any capacity, because I have coupons for either one of them. Yes, VirtualBox is free. It's virtual machine software. Not as powerful as Parallels or VMware, but still good for a free solution. Basically, a virtual machine allows you to run an operating system within the operating system that you're running. Now, imagine this. Imagine this. You have 3 operating systems running on one desktop seamlessly, and they're all running perfect. Like, you can't, no hiccups. You're playing, like semi-full screen, at least in, the area, like on one monitor at 120 frames a second, super high resolution. I mean, you're fragging enemies on one system, and on another one, you're able to do some high calculations in a spreadsheet, and I'm like, another thing on another. Basically, you've got 3 operating systems all doing very, very, very processor and memory intensive tasks. And you're able to do that all at the same time. Well, to do that, yes, you have to have a processor able to handle it, but you also have to have the memory, because you want to load the operating system into memory, and you still want to have enough memory left over so that your other operating systems can run. So people are doing this now, but it's only going to get easier. So imagine a day that you will have Mac OS X, Windows, Linux, maybe even have 14 flavors of Linux running at the same time, seamlessly, each one of them doing something different. It's kind of the idea behind virtual machines, and I think that 4 gigs of RAM will not be enough when everybody's having 2 operating systems running at the same time seamlessly, like dragging and dropping objects back and forth between the operating systems, running, full bore on one of them, maybe half bore on another, and maybe I'm boring you on this monitor. I don't know. Hopefully I haven't. Either way, that's, I think, the next practical leap in terms of what is going to necessitate having more RAM in a system. gaming and virtual machines. Maybe you've got a completely different answer to the question. Fine. I'm not going to keep you from posting the answer. You can leave a video response, comment, which you've likely already done. My email address, chris@perillo.com. We also have geeks.perillo.com on top of lockergnome.net. Coupons.lockergnome.com, funicode.perillo.com, chris.perillo.com is my blog. You can follow me on Twitter @ChrisPerillo, and of course Facebook.com, Chris Perillo as well. Our chat room, you can pop in there. If you use IRC, fine, we've got that, ready for you to use. Even if I'm not there in my home office, I've got the video feed running pretty much all the time, so that you can be a part of the live video experience. We are typically talking tech 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.perillo.com. We'll see you later.